Hey, what is up everybody? Blades for here, and today I have for you guys another video, Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about at least Ryujis best in slots here, mainly going over exactly what they do, how they affect Ryuji himself, and how he can be a lot better depending on if you're running these guys or not. So if you guys are interested in this video, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. This is going to be kind of separate from, like, I guess you could say, my build guides themselves, because I still do have to get up build guides as well. But this is going to be something I'm going to start doing with all the units. This way you guys have a little bit of a gist of how you're going to utilize this character, and as well how you're going to utilize the teammates. So that at least out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Now when it comes down to Ryuji here, Ryuji is one of the few characters that a lot of people do want to end up using. And although of course I recommend on a lot of the times here, this is still a decent character. There's nothing wrong with Ryuji himself. He's actually pretty good, if not a really heavy hitter. The only issue is it does take up some time. The main reason I say it takes up some time is because the only thing that you're going to be utilizing here is going to be his actual ultimate, as well as his skill 3. Now the skill 3 is the thing that is truly his only hit. This is going to take at least a good turn to really get charged here. And with that turn charge, it will fully make at least a difference here. What I mean by that, we have God's Hands Burst is what they end up calling it inside the global version here. But whenever you go ahead and select an enemy, he goes into a changing gear state, or just mainly a charging state. At this point in time, the next attack, or at least the next round, will then deal 294% of attack. If you do have this actually upgraded, it deals a little bit more. And if he does have a rebound effect, which is based on at least his health bar, in which when he gets down to a low enough health, he gets a rebound status, he can then guarantee a critical hit on the enemy. Now, if you do, of course, defeat the enemy while in the charging gear state, it will then select another foe, which is also pretty decent. But the main thing for this character is he is a just straight up bossy machine. If you can get him set up right, get everything up, and actually have his stats, he really will become a very, very dangerous person. The only issue, as I did say, he's going to be very hard to set up, and it's kind of difficult in general to really get him down to at least the benchmarks that he needs for the character you need, seeing he takes so much time to set up. But don't worry, there are a few characters you guys can very well use to make this character even more busted. But one thing's for sure, the thing that I want to go ahead and let you guys know is if you're going to be utilizing Ryuji, you don't really want to utilize this dagger right here. In fact, you do want to utilize this one, seeing that it is going to help you out with the shields in effect. But another thing is it increases your party's defense. Now this is going to be very helpful for Ryuji himself, because at the end of the day, he's going to take a lot of damage. He's going to be very hardcore focused, and Ryuji can be a little bit of a squishy sometimes, but that works in his favor. You're able to at least decrease the amount of damage that's happening on you and still hit the benchmark of at least being where you can activate your rebounded state. It won't be a bad situation. At the end of the day, you'll be able to, of course, live the attacks, have your rebound state, and deal some major damage on the enemy. But another good part about this is whenever we do use a skill on an ally, we are able to, of course, restore their HP. So Ryuji will need his HP back at some point in time here. So if we do end up using any type of skill, whether it's buffing or anything of that nature, you will get your HP back in order to set up the rebound once again. So sure, you do keep that in mind. Now for the best in slot. Now this is the whole point of this whole video. Ryuji is going to require some at least certain characters in this aspect. So for sustainability wise here, you either want to go ahead and use Soy, or if you really don't have Soy at this point, you could very well use Yuki. Both of which are pretty much good characters, but we're going to start off with Soy as usual, because this is a character that I quite literally have been raving on quite a lot. The reason that this character is so amazing is because not only can, of course, he build up your max HP in general, but the man can taunt. He also has an ult that also increases your max party HP, which is absolutely amazing. And of course, a skill 1 that does ice damage, which can inflict freeze as well. This is pretty nice because then you can, of course, if you wanted to make sure that Ryuji doesn't die or anything doesn't happen to him too badly, you would use the skill 1 and it makes sure that their attack is lowered. Pretty dang nice to have it at the end of the day, but there's also another catch to this character. Not really with the passives here, but it's gonna come down to at least his gun ability, which actually it is one of his passives. This one here actually decreases the defense of the foe whenever you're using his ranged attack. It has at least a % chance to proc this said thing here, and it will help quite a lot. If you're bossing quite a lot with at least this character, being able to use the gun mechanic with at least Soy is going to be very, very useful. The more you end up using that gun mechanic, the more of course defense shred you're going to end up getting off here. And with Ryujis seeing he's powering up a very, very powerful move, this can come in handy quite a lot. You don't need anything special for Soy himself, but having him as Ryuji's best in slot character is definitely at the top of your priority list. Now the next character, as I did say, as a least replacement of Soy, let's say if you didn't want to use Soy and you wanted to use Yuki, you very well can. The only difference with Yuki here is Yuki's on the least chopping block when it comes down to at least building characters. This character herself isn't particularly bad, but she also isn't particularly good. There's a couple things that she does a little bit worse than Soy here, which she does defend, but more or less it doesn't help out the entire team. With that in mind, it does bring her down into that sort of aspect as well. But one other thing that she doesn't really excel at here is when it comes down to utilizing her. Although she can of course buff shields to her allies, it's more or less only good for specific characters. So more or less you're going to be able to use this for like Yusuke, and it's more or less going to be a character that's specific to only one unit. Though you're able to at least set up an AoE shield, it will cause you to have some increased damage dealt buffs. You are now risking that our man Ryuji won't get his HP back at times, and you're also risking that you have to take some time to set up her defensive mechanisms here as well. She is pretty decent in at least her role, but if you have a different defender, aka being Soy, you definitely want to go with him first besides going with this character in at least the long run. So sure you do keep that in mind. Alright, so with the best in slot already starting off with Soy here, the next best character that you guys really want to go ahead and look at is going to be pretty much a no-brainer. This one is going to be Leon. Now Leon himself, a lot of people have kind of started doubting him a little bit because they don't really read his kit too much, but Leon himself is actually really good. He's pretty much the best in general. I don't think there's a character that replaces him for at least Ryuji himself. And the main reasoning for this is because this character can actually buff attack and crit damage stat effects. It's absolutely amazing whenever he's using at least part of his stacks here, which is called the activate stack. If they are gained here and the actual characters below 75%, he's actually able to do more with his S2. So no matter what, you're getting yourself even more like attack bonuses and things of this nature. And seeing that you're already going to be counting down your HP with at least our man Ryuji, you're getting that extra shield as well as that extra attack bonus, which is going to be very helpful. He pairs more or less even higher once you do have him at a higher awareness. Once of course you get to A6, this is going to be the full potential for the character, in which at that point in time, he's able to give crit damage stacks 24/7 and attack stats to your just DPSs in general. It's really going to be a huge deal because if you go ahead and look here, he already does some decent things, which is always nice. But that A6 is what really increases everything here, because as long as that ally is below 60%, you're able to give them a 25% crit damage increase for that one turn. Absolutely amazing to see this. And then of course with his highlight that he actually has in his kit as well, it comes in handy for a ton of different DPSs. Seeing that no matter what's going to happen here, you're going to get a maximum boost, which is going to be absolutely nice to have. You guys really want to focus on this character. Now granted, he's still viable without the A6, but he really gets very strong once the A6 is actually placed above. Now I would say not to really level up most times the skill 1, though skill 2 is going to be very nice to level up. Every now and again you don't need to do this, though I would definitely say go ahead and just do so anyways, because we do want all the attack multipliers that we want to get here. So all you really have to do is just make sure you have the skill 2, skill 3 open as much as possible. Just to surely keep in mind that at the end of the day, you're taking down your HP and you're getting a shield. Eventually you will be able to get that HP back, but you do want to understand that, you know, in some cases there are mobs that are going to deal a ton more damage if you just take away at least the HP and put a shield there. So sure you do keep that in mind. You will have to at least gauge your HP quite often, but for Ryuji, I feel like this is the best case of action. If anything too with this character, you definitely want to try and at least set them up as good as possible in getting their weapon. This is one of the few characters that no matter what, he is going to be that best in slot for Ryuji, so being able to get his weapon, which also increases crit damage and attack, it will come in handy. But now we went over at least this character, we're going to go ahead and go over the last part of the video, which is actually talking about the last character that goes with Ryuji. This is going to be the navigator named Puppet. Now Puppet is pretty dang good as well. You could very well use Okyon if you're looking for more of those attack stats, but seeing that Ryuji is always constantly in danger, Puppet is probably going to be the best one for him. Main reason for this because she can also increase damage dealt markers, at least whenever you do have her shields on with one of her skills. Though don't let this downplay anything here. She also is a pretty decent shielder, and seeing that our main, at least gonna be Ryuji here in this case, seeing that he can lower his health quite often, you want to make sure you're as careful as possible. So surely do keep that in mind as well. Not to mention the Navi doesn't take much to really build. You can really use just her 4-star and be pretty darn good as well, and she really helps out in those long-term fights. Seeing that she's able to make sure Ryuji can't get knocked down, she's able to provide these shields as well as give a damage boost. It really does come in handy for this unit. So I would recommend a lot of you guys to keeping her as your best slot. But since we've talked about everything about Ryuji here, thank you guys for watching very much. This one was coming a little late here. I had to take several different cuts or several different videos, really trying to like figure out my plan of action of at least introducing this type of video. If you guys like videos like these for best in slot characters, let me know down below in the comment section and I'll be sure to do more. Also, let me know who you want to see next, whether it's on Mona or those type of characters here. But you understand, Mona and other characters are going to be a little bit hard, seeing of course this is mainly for the DPSs out there who have the team center around them. But without further ado, thank you for watching and peace out.